Hey everybody, it's Tamari the Astro Fashionista. Welcome to my channel. You know what to do by now. Please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and please let me know in the comments what other content you want to see from me. So you guys, it's March. I can't even believe it's March. I remember filming the January 2020 video. It's crazy that we're already here, but such is life. So March is really a big month astrologically. We have a lot going on here. I think it's going to be a generally good month. It's a 7 numerology month because if you add 2 plus 2 is 4, and then you add that to 3, the third month of the year, that's 7. And 7 is all about going inwards. It's a spiritual number. It's a number about preparation and really listening to your inner voice. It's the number before 8, which is more about work and enterprise, which I anticipate April to be about as well. But right now we have just a lot of like awakening energy. I know it's been a tough couple months with a lot of losses, or what seems like losses, a lot of media stuff going on and a lot of fear mongering. But I just want to remind you guys that we are the creators of our own destiny and our own life. Don't let anyone, anything, any media property, don't let anyone scare you into things, or just scare you and make you walk through this life as if you're being a victim. Because although I believe we're being directed, obviously I believe in the, you know, the universe and the stars and planets and all that having an influence on our life. It's destiny, and I don't feel like we were put on this earth to just, you know, live in fear and go through a complete negative experience, unless we are putting a negative experience out there and then you're going to attract it back. So I just want to remind you to just like stay positive, stay woke, and turn off the news. Because I don't even watch the news, to be honest. I get updates on my phone or whatever, and then I move on and continue about my merry day because, hey, we got bills to pay around here. So anyway, I'm going to get into the astrology of March 2020. Okay, so we start out the month. I'm going to start with Tuesday with one of the major aspects happening. We have Venus in Aries, and it's going to be making a square to Saturn in Capricorn, which is down here. So when you think of Aries, Aries is cardinal fire. Fire is all about action, initiative, fire, hot, tempered. And Aries is a sign that's the first sign of the zodiac. And when you have cardinal fire, cardinal is about taking initiative and action. That's really like moving forward. And when you combine that with Venus, Venus is all about love and pleasures and being just nice and, you know, dainty and pleasurable. And Venus is actually considered to be in detriment in Aries. It's a ancient astrological term, being in detriment, meaning that it's not operating in its own domain. It's at home in Libra and Taurus. So Venus and Aries can be very hot-tempered, aggressive, assertive with love. But then when you combine that with Saturn, and Saturn is cold. It's the cold planet. It's the furthest from the sun, if we're talking about the 7 visible traditional planets. And it's in Capricorn, the sign that it rules, or one of the signs that it rules. And that's all about restriction and organization and being responsible. So a square in astrology is it's a difficult aspect. It's of the energy of Mars, so it requires action to get through. And so we have Venus square Saturn. I know I just said a lot. That is really wanting to maybe move forward in love issues, or move forward with a nice purchase, or move forward with anything that's in the Venus domain, whether it's like you know, shopping or being creative. But it's a little frustrating because Saturn's telling you to get your ducks in a row. So I'm going to interpret this the best way that I know too, which is a love issue. So that means frustration in love relationships. It's not you're going to want to maybe feel like moving forward or pressing an issue or being assertive in the love department. And it's really frustrating because you're getting pushback from Saturn saying, slow down. So this could manifest as for some of you as, you know, a hard lesson. It could be you thinking what you need to do to get out of a bad situation. If you're in a relationship, you might really feel the call to like end something if it's not working for you. And that's that Aries Mars energy, and Saturn's like, okay, we'll think this through. So I would just say it's a little tough in the love department on that day, but it's a Tuesday, it's one day. And it's also about wanting freedom, but also wanting stability. So it could be a little confusing for those of you who are looking for like something stable, but you also don't want to lose yourself. So it'll pass just like every other astrological transit. Okay, and then on Wednesday, March 4th, Mercury enters Aquarius. Mercury is still retrograde at this time. But it does a little better in Aquarius than it does in Pisces. I talked about Pisces in my last video, Mercury being in Pisces and being considered in detriment. Mercury does very well in Aquarius. So it gives us a little bit of a break before Mercury goes direct. Aquarius is fixed air. Fixed is all about structure and building things lasting, being kind of stuck in your ways. And Aquarius is air, thoughts. So we can be a little more stubborn during this time. Again, Mercury is retrograde, so if there's any arguments, I foresee some of us really trying to stick our ground. But just watch what you say. Don't say anything off the cuff, off the wall, because you can't take that back. And then on that same day, we have Venus entering Taurus in its own domicile, in its own domain. That's going to last until May 1st, which is amazing and great because Venus really likes being in Taurus. It's Taurus's ruler. It's about taking a break and enjoying life's pleasures. Taurus is an earth sign. Venus is, you know, it's a wet planet. It's moist. And so things are really fertile when it's in Taurus. So this could be a great time for planting, you know, seeds for, and I'm going, after Mercury goes direct, which we'll get to in a second, planting new seeds around like real estate or love or pleasure things that rule pleasure. Or if you want to, you know, maybe open up a new bank account or something like that. That's a positive way to look at Venus in Taurus, because Taurus is the sign of finance as well, or one of the signs that rules money, the main sign. And then on a relationship standpoint, things can get a little bit easier because, you know, Venus is in a place where it's comfortable, it's more expressive, it's more loving. It's a time where we're all going to want to feel a little more lovey-dovey and just really crave that like nurturing, that nice warm fuzzy feeling inside. That's like the best way to put it. And I forgot to move my Venus over to Taurus here for Venus and Taurus. Then on Sunday, March 8th, we have the Sun here still in Pisces, sitting right next to conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. So this is really dreamy, creative energy. The Sun is about creativity itself. And Neptune is all about, it's the higher octave of Venus. So it's about being in love, being inspired, being creative. And this could be really, really creative energy. On the flip side, it can be really deceptive energy. It's an energy where we all kind of have on rose-colored glasses and cannot see things for what they are. We are seeing things in a better light than maybe it really is. So I do want to put a little caution out there. But for the most part, it's a really pleasant experience, and it's really about being inspired and being happy and like feeling fulfilled, because the Sun is about fulfillment. That same day, Venus in Taurus up here is going to be conjunct Uranus in Taurus, because Uranus is in a long transit through Taurus. And putting those two together, Venus in Taurus, which I already talked about, sitting right next to Uranus, the planet of change, excitement, things happening out of the blue, windfalls. So when you combine those two, the simplest interpretation of that is like meeting a love partner out of the blue. That could be good, and that can be expressed in some of you guys' charts, depending on what's going on there. It could mean relationship issues that come up out of the blue. So it doesn't always have to be a positive manifestation, but I like to look at both sides. So, but with Venus in Taurus in a place that it likes to be, it could be a positive change. It might be something that's much needed, because Taurus is a sign of, it's a fixed earth sign, so it doesn't like change. And Uranus wants to force change. So it could physically be forcing you out of something that's no longer good for you, or it could be forcing you into something that is good for you. So it kind of depends on what's going on in the full chart. If you want to know, hit your girl up. I can do a personal reading for you. Then on Monday, March 9th, we have Mercury that's in Aquarius finally going direct after a 3-week retrograde. I know it's probably been a little bit difficult for some of us communication wise, with traveling, with technology, all that stuff that Mercury rules. But finally we have a breath of fresh air and Mercury continues on its path of going quick and fast. So we're having that on that day. But on that same day, there's actually a full moon in Virgo. Where's my moon? So my moon, I can't see because of my light. Okay, here's my moon. The moon is going to be in Virgo. Again, I talk about when there's a full moon. The sun is actually sitting right opposite the moon, and the moon is being illuminated by the light of the sun. So this full moon in Virgo, I think, is actually a really good one. It's at, let's see, 19 degrees in Nikola Stanjanovic. Okay, I can't even say his name, so I'm not going to butcher it. I'm just going to put it below on the screen. He's a Serbian astrologer. I've had the pleasure of, being and learning from him at a retreat in Bulgaria. And I followed him on Astro Lada's channel. I will also link her channel below. He has the whole degree theory, and so I definitely incorporated that into my practice. And this full moon is at the degree of Libra. It's at 19 degrees, and that just gives a little bit of a Libra flair to this full moon, meaning it's more creative. So when you mix Virgo and Libra, that's skill and creativity combined. That's genius. That's like the Beyonce, her being such a great dancer. That's like Virgo talents with a Libra flair. That's like being a great makeup artist, somebody that can paint a face and beat a face, but with great skill and use their creativity. So that's what this full moon is about. It's a productive moon. It's also it's a time where if there's something that you are very skilled at or you're mastering, there can be some payoff around that time. And if you want to look back to the new moon that happened, it happened August 30th in 2019. There was a new moon in Virgo, and new moons are about planting seeds. So whatever you were working on around that time, you might see things come to fruition, they start to pay off. And there's some positive aspects going on. We also have the moon is making a positive aspect to Capricorn, Mars in Capricorn. Mars is exalted. It likes to be in Capricorn. So that's action. That's, things moving forward quickly in a nice natural way. The moon is actually also trining Jupiter. The trine is, again, a positive aspect. Jupiter is about abundance and making things larger. So the moon and Jupiter, it's a jovial time. And then it's also making a positive aspect to Pluto, which is all about transformation and powerful. So I really see this as a time where things might get bigger and larger than life and really be fruitful, something fruitful happening for some of us, especially if you have planets close to the 19th degree of Virgo, or in an earth sign close to that degree, or in a water sign close to that degree. Okay, then on Wednesday, March 11th, the sun in Pisces is making a positive aspect called a sextile to Jupiter in Pisces. And a sextile is opportunity. It's a trine is all about things happening out of the blue, then like you're not having to put a lot of effort. A sextile takes effort. So when you combine the sun, which is all about creativity, and you link it up with Jupiter, which is about expanding things and making things bigger, and it's in Capricorn, that's opportunity to create something lasting if you put in effort. So it's a good time to, like, if you're in a creative field, or if you're a person that is working on a creative project, sun in Pisces, to put energy towards that on that day so that you can see a payoff in the future with that Jupiter in Capricorn. Another thing I want to add is that Jupiter is actually the traditional ruler of Pisces. So Jupiter wants to help its sign. So if you put in the effort, it's going to pay off, because Jupiter wants to protect that sign. It wants to protect the energy in Pisces, and the sun is in Pisces. It's like, I want to help that sun out because it's in my sign. It's in the sign that I rule. This energy is actually going to last through the weekend, through Saturday, March 14th, because Mars in Capricorn will also be in a positive aspect. Mars is down here. Mars, again, about action, making things happen. It'll be making a positive aspect with Neptune in Pisces. Again, amplifying creativity and putting action towards something creative or something romantic. And this could be a romantic thing too, a love thing, because Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. And then there's also the sun in Pisces is also making a positive aspect to Pluto in Capricorn. So there's a lot of Capricorn, Pisces support happening. So mixing the practical with the dreams and seeing how things really manifest and come to fruition by mixing those two energies. Then on this third week of the month, it's a big week, y'all. It's a big astrological week. For one, let's say, okay, so Mercury went here in Aquarius. It's going to move back into Pisces. We're going to have to deal with that energy for a little bit longer, but it's not the end of the world by any means. But on Thursday, March 19th, the sun is going to move into Aries. And this is the spring equinox. It's the vernal equinox. And this is the International Astrology Day. What us Western astrologers kind of consider like the beginning of the astrological year. And so what happens during this time is the sun's ecliptic, the sun's path around the Earth as we see it from here on Earth, because that's a geocentric view. We have a geocentric view of the planets, right? Because we're seeing things happen here. The ecliptic, the sun travels along this path and it crosses a point in the equator, and it's at the 1st degree of Aries. And so that's the beginning of the new astrological year. It's where there's equal day and equal night, hence the name equinox. And it's Aries season in the northern hemisphere. It's Libra season or fall in the southern hemisphere, so spring and fall. This is a big time, and it's really good. It's good new energy. I love fresh new starts. Just like we have a new year, then there's Chinese New Year, we have this new astrological year, and so it's a time for new beginnings. So Friday, March 20th, we have Mars in Capricorn sitting right next to Jupiter in Capricorn. So Jupiter in Capricorn, it's gonna last through the end of the year. It's not the best place for Jupiter to be. When I mean best place, it's not in Jupiter's most jovial domain, which would be Sagittarius or Pisces. But it's getting its limits there. It's learning how to be bigger and larger than life, but in a practical way, if that makes sense. It's making Jupiter be more practical. But when you add the energy of Mars, and Mars is about action, it can be a really good combination because Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It likes to be there. It's about being a workhorse and getting things done and being efficient. So it really could be, one expression could just be putting energy into something that is going to be long lasting or pay off good, or whether it's work or it's a new project. And then getting the blessings of Jupiter and having a little good luck sprinkled on it. Or on the flip side, it could be really explosive because Jupiter makes things bigger, and Mars is about, you know, action and aggression. It's the planet, the god of war, and fighting, and it rules iron and knives and all these things. So another thing you might want to do is just be a little bit careful. And as I go through the signs, I'll tell you where this is happening in your chart. Just not to just pay attention, be a little more safe. Don't just do things off the cuff. Don't just say things off the cuff. And just try to be a little more conservative. Okay, then on Saturday, March 21st, we have a big deal. I don't have a drum roll to give you. But Saturn, it's been perusing through Capricorn. It's going to make its way into Aquarius for the first time in about 30 years, almost 27 to 30 years. And this is a really, really big deal. This is the first taste of what the energy is going to be like when Saturn moves into Aquarius permanently at the end of the year for the next 2.5 years. So Saturn is all about structure. I talk about this every month. Structure, limits, time. It's about being responsible, taking care of your business. And Aquarius is ruled by Saturn in traditional astrology. Uranus is the modern ruler, but Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So it's still in its own domain. It's been in Capricorn. Capricorn is about or Saturn in Capricorn is about setting limits, putting structure and boundaries into place. We've seen a lot of things blowing up, being brought to the light, with Pluto being there in the media and just all kinds of shenanigans happening. Aquarius is the breath of fresh air that actually sets up new processes that we learned when Saturn was in Capricorn. So I do foresee this as being almost like a fresh new start of a new normal. A new age. We are in the Aquarian age, but this is like, okay, now that we've learned so many lessons, what are we going to do with it? Where can we go? How can we innovate? Aquarius is about innovation. It's about humanitarianism. How do we make the world a better place? There's climate change. I have the chills right now because I really feel like it's all of our responsibility to be responsible about the earth for our children. I don't have children yet, but you know, if you have children, or if you want to have children, or you have nephews and nieces, whatever, it's our responsibility to make this world, to preserve it for them, because we can't leave something in a worse state and then just pass on the problem to other people. So I do feel like there will be, you know, advances in science, advances in innovation with Saturn in Aquarius. So this is a really, really big deal. This transit is only going to last until July. This first time around, it's going to go retrograde, and then it's going to go back into Capricorn and then move back into Aquarius at the end of the year. For those of you that are born between 1990 and 1992, you will be in your Saturn return. Welcome and good luck with that. I'm just joking. I actually have a video about the Saturn return. I will link it below or put it somewhere up here. And really, it's about a changing of the guard. And ending the month, Monday, March 30th, we have Mars entering Aquarius. This is not as good of a week as the previous week. It's a little bit contentious just because Mars and Saturn are meeting up in Aquarius at the beginning degrees, especially Monday and Tuesday where it's exact. That's more frustration, it's roadblocks, it's things not going forward, because Mars is all about action and Saturn is about wait, hold, slow your roll. And so those two energies, they're the two malefics in astrology. They don't really get along. They're totally different of nature. So it's a little bit frustrating. So we're ending that week on a little bit of a frustrating note, but then we're going to be in April and there's going to be all new astrology, which I will talk about next month. So now I'm going to get into how this energy will affect your sign. Virgo rising. So the beginning of the month might be more of a focus about partnership for you. On March 8th, we have the sun in Pisces. It's in your 7th house of partnership. That can be love partnerships, that can be business partnerships, and it's making an aspect with Neptune. Making an aspect to Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, so it's all about love. And so I see this as more of like a romantic time for you, with the sun shining its spotlight on your house of marriage and partnership, and like maybe you're longing for that if you don't have it. If you do have it, you're feeling a little bit more romantic and loving towards your partner. It can also mean being deceived, so just watch out for that. Watch out for being deceived by other people too. But for the most part, it can be just a really sweet time. I mean, you're a Virgo, you're practical, so a lot of you just, you know, keep your eyes open. That's something that should come natural to you. That same day, Venus is in Taurus, and it's actually going to be connected to Uranus in Taurus, and that's actually happening in your 9th house. That can mean a trip out of the blue for you. That's one way that could that can manifest. Something that wasn't planned. Venus actually rules the 9th house, so it's in its own house, and right next to Uranus and Taurus, and 9th house being faraway land, travel. So that could be like a trip that you didn't expect that you're going to take. Then on March 9th, we have Mercury direct in Aquarius. That's really good news for you. Mercury is your ruler. And so you're always affected by Mercury retrogrades, miscommunications, things going, you know, not the way they were planned. So you're going to really like that happening. And also the full moon happening in your sign, Virgo, on that same day. It's happening in your 1st house, and it's making positive aspects to the 5th house, which is all about, you know, gambling, romance, love, children. So I think for you, it's going to be more of like a happy time. The first house is you. So there might be something that happens where you're feeling inspired. Something you were working on for a long time pays off or completes, and maybe you're celebrating fifth house. You want to have a party or something, a party to celebrate something. I could see that happening around the full moon time for you. And then on March 11th, we have the sun in Pisces making a positive aspect to Jupiter again in that fifth house. That's why I think, and that's so close together. That's why I think there could be like some sort of celebration if you wanted to have a party or something, and it could go well. With that sextile, you're putting the energy and you're manifesting positive energy towards a celebration of some sort. And then on March 19th, we have the sun moving into Aries in your 8th house. I've been saying this to all the signs that have 8th house energy happening. Taxes, 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 get them done. You're a Virgo, so you might already have gotten them done. But if you have not, sun is shining the spotlight on that area. April 15th is coming real soon for y'all in the US. So yeah, I would just say you might want to be doing that, especially when the new moon moves. So maybe the days after March 24th, after the new moon, might be a good day to kind of work on the taxes. And Mercury's also direct, so you're in the clear in that respect. And then Saturn is going to move into Aquarius temporarily until July, into your 6th house. And this is work, health, service. So for you, Virgo, it's really, really important for you to take care of your health during this time. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not. But Virgo is the sign of health. And a lot of you are probably health conscious, or people who have a lot of Virgo planets in Virgo are very conscious about their health and the way they eat. Saturn in the 6th house can mean getting sick more often. So coronavirus, watch out. Sorry, I literally, I think at the beginning of this video said, don't listen to fear mongering. And I said, don't listen to me. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but just protect yourself before you wreck yourself. You know, like take your vitamins, drink your water, exercise, and you'll be all right. Saturn actually might help you do that more. It might help you be even a little more structured in that area of your life. At the same time, the 6th house also rules everyday work and routine. So you might be actually more inclined to start getting your routine more defined at work, or maybe things are going to be restructured at work somehow. I anticipate this happening more after the transit is permanent at the end of the year through, you know, 2022 or so. But you'll get a sneak peek of what this energy is going to be like starting in March of this year. And then on March 27th, we have a beautiful day. We have Venus in Taurus making a trine to Jupiter in Capricorn in your 5th again. So I really feel like you're celebrating something this month. I don't know. You guys, if you watch this video and you do, come back and leave me a comment. I would love to know that. So overall, it's a pretty good month for you, Virgo.